Hey, what's up, Funkaholics? I think anybody that's collected Funko Pops for a while, or anybody that's just aware of them, either through YouTube, or your friends' collections, or just seeing them at stores, can agree that not every Funko Pop is created equal. Some of them are just downright ugly. And I'm not talking just ugly like one of the zombies from The Walking Dead, because yeah, those are ugly, but they're also highly detailed and kind of cool looking. Or like say Sloth from the Goonies, because that pop is accurate looking to the character, who is an ugly character to begin with, but is also kind of funny to look at, so I wouldn't put him on this list either. The pops I chose to put on this list are mostly from characters that are ugly to begin with, and when translated over into pop form, don't have a cool factor to them, aren't cute, aren't very detailed or accurate, and are just overall ugly pieces of plastic that might stop you from getting them even though you like the character. It's just the fact that it's such an ugly collectible that you just don't want it in your house. Not every single one of these is going to meet all of that criteria. Of course, I'll explain why I made each pick as I go through the countdown. And remember that you may agree or disagree. This is just my opinion. You may think some of these are the cutest things ever, or you may feel that some pops are uglier than these. And that's cool. This is just my opinion. I'm not exactly sure how to say this name because I haven't seen Valerian, but this Doghan Daguis is very ugly to me. And this is one of the few instances actually that the pops actually do look better than the actual character design. I looked up pictures of what this character looks like in the movie, and it has got to be one of the most ill-conceived character designs I have ever seen. Not sure what they were thinking there. So naturally the pops are ugly too. What's crazy is they made 3 different ones of them, with 2 out of the 3 being chases. I feel like they did that partly because there is 3 of them in the movie, but I also think that they did that because people are inclined to buy a pop because it has a chase sticker on it, even if they don't know anything about the character, even if they don't like the design at all, even if they're not going to plan to ever watch the movie. They could have easily made a 3-pack out of these guys, but I have a feeling that they knew that absolutely nobody would buy this ugly little guy. This Bride of Chucky version of Chucky was one of the ugliest pops in my collection for a long time until I got rid of it, because I just felt like he was a major eyesore, and I also don't think he's very accurate, especially with the way they molded his hair. The Chucky doll in that movie doesn't have such flat looking hair, it's a little bit more wild and crazy, kind of like the way they did it on the original Chucky Funko Pop. And I do think that this is one of those instances where they should have made his eyes blue, and just the overall way they did the stitching and everything just looks a little unfinished to me. I actually ended up giving this one away because of how ugly it is, and not in a cool way. To me, it's just an ugly collectible. The original Goofy Funko Pop has got to be the worst version of Goofy I have ever seen. They did a really good job with the new Goofy molds, and I'm sure they're eventually going to make an original Goofy in that style, and I will probably get it. But this one, with the oversized hands and the bizarre way they decided to make his eyes, has got to be one of the ugliest Disney Pops and Funko Pops in general. The eyes look completely unfinished and more soulless than usual. They probably should have just made those eyes white all the way through without the eyelids, or just make the area around the eyes white and the actual eyes black like they did on the new one. That looks really good. But this guy right here is awful. This unmasked Deadpool is an example of a character that, yeah, is supposed to be ugly. It's a running joke in the Deadpool comics and the movie that he's ugly. That his face now looks like the inside of other people's buttholes. If you look at some of the Walking Dead zombies, you can see what Funko can do with like decomposing skin or burnt flesh on some of the horror pops. But this Deadpool head basically looks like a do-it-yourself Funko Pop that they painted pink with a little bit darker pink on it. And they didn't even cover his whole face. Like his nose is perfect, his mouth area is perfect, his ears are perfect. It really should be deformed all the way around and in a more creative way. This Funko Pop almost looks like a poorly executed custom. There are plenty of really ugly Funko Pops in the Star Wars line, but the Snaggletooth, especially the blue Snaggletooth, has got to be one of the ugliest ones. It kind of looks like they took Gilbert Gottfried, put him in a spacesuit and gave him a pig nose. I would have never picked this one up in stores. The only reason I do own it is because it was in the Smuggler's Bounty. And I'm pretty sure that that's the only reason a lot of collectors have this one. He's not detailed enough like say Plo Koon, who is also an ugly character, but he has so much detail and a really nice paint job that he crosses over into being cool looking even though he's ugly. This guy right here is just ugly. Look, I understand that Sam Jackson isn't winning any handsome contests anytime soon, and they didn't do him any favors by putting him in this getup in Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, so I understand that this pop was gonna be ugly no matter what Funko did, but this is extraordinarily ugly. The suit is pretty boring looking. They rounded his hair off on top instead of making it look more wild and crazy like it does on the box. I think making the hair a little bit more sculpted and crazy like that would help this pop look a little bit more detailed, or maybe giving him a different stance or something to hold in his hand would improve this. But as it is, this is just a crazy looking guy in a boring suit, which in my mind equals a pop that I can't imagine anybody wanting in their home. Garona from Warcraft is an orc. I get it, orcs are ugly. But there's something about a female orc that makes it even uglier to me, especially with those warthog teeth and that really ugly shade of green, which they decided to put rosy cheeks on. That looks really weird to me. The armor has some nice detailing on it, but it isn't very nice looking armor. The bones are just kind of there in the hair, and she's in a very boring stance, and the hair sculpt isn't very great either. Honestly, this looks like when you're playing a video game and they have a create a character feature, and you hit the randomize button, and this pops out. This is another one where I know Funko didn't have much to work with because the Doomsday character design in the Batman vs Superman movie is pretty ugly, but Funko somehow managed to make it even uglier. And it's mainly because I think this design looks really weird with that huge head. It just looks like a little goblin baby or something. And these naked characters always look kind of weird because of course they can't put like an actual dick on them, but it looks like they gave him a little front butt where his dick would be. It's really weird looking and it's just ugly. I'm really glad they're making more of the villains from Batman the Animated Series. Definitely one of my favorite versions of Batman. And the Clayface episode is regarded as one of the best. But honestly, this Clayface pop looks like a huge pile of shit with corn in it. That's the first thing that came to my mind when I saw this. I was just like, wow, that looks like a big, huge, corny pile of shit. And it also kind of reminds me of the Golgothan from Dogma.
Fucking farting.
Not born. Shit into existence.
Sweet Christ, somebody, what's bad?
What is that thing?
An excremental, the Golgothan.
A what? A shit demon!
No man of woman born.
And don't get me wrong, the pop is accurate. It looks to be about the same color. It does have an interesting sculpt, but that interesting sculpt just happens to look like shit. And for number one, it's another naked character, Eren in Titan form from Attack on Titan. Before you guys get mad and start jumping down my throat about making this number one, I'm a fan of Attack on Titan. I just think that Eren in Titan form completely does not translate over into pop form. This is just a very, very ugly design. It kind of just looks like they took a skull, made it flesh colored, and put Daryl Dixon's hair on it, and put it on a buff dwarf body, and finished it off with a Ken doll crotch. There is absolutely nothing aesthetically pleasing about this pop. To make it even worse, it's not even 6 inches. All the other Titan pops are 6 inch, but Eren in Titan form isn't, so that's pretty lame. And for all those reasons, I honestly think that this is the ugliest Funko Pop ever made. Alright guys, that was my top 10 ugliest Funko Pops. I feel that if you got these 10 pops, took them out of their boxes, and put them on your bookshelf, it would definitely be the ugliest Funko Pop collection ever. Let me know in the comments below which pops you think should have been on this list, which pops shouldn't have been on this list, your own top 10 list, what character you really like but were disappointed when you actually saw the way they did their Funko Pop, your mom's digits, or anything else you would like to say. Alright Funkaholics, always remember that good looks are only skin deep, always be careful who you call ugly in middle school, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Thanks for watching, I really appreciate when you do, take care of yourself, and have a good one.